Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow room. And, well, it has finally arrived. Haydn, the big H. Well, at least my big H, I suppose, because Handel's an awfully big H too, except most of my Handel is upstairs, because he's a more recent phenomenon than Haydn in my musical life. Anyway, this is going to be a long series of videos, and we're going to have such a good time. So let's get right to it, shall we? Well, here is an interesting rarity. This is Emanuel Pahud plays like Johann Michael Haydn, that is younger brother Haydn, and Franz Joseph Haydn, older brother Haydn, and Leopold Hoffmann, who was attributed to Franz Joseph Haydn. So the interesting thing are the two flute concerto. No, not the interesting thing. The most interesting thing here is not flute concerto material. You get Michael Haydn's flute concerto in D, which is charming, and the Concerto for Flute and Orchestra in D by Hoffmann, which is charming. But in the middle, we get these 6 Scherzandi, Hoboken 2, numbers 30 through 33 through 38. Now, these are fascinating little pieces. They're early Haydn. They are 4-movement symphonies, symphonettes. They last between 6 minutes and 12 seconds and 9 minutes and 19 seconds for the longest one. Tiny little MIDI symphonies. No one knows why he wrote them. No one knows what they were used for. I guess they were kind of like divertimenti or something like that. But they are delightful. They haven't been recorded often. They're on BIS with the Haydn Sinfonietta Wien, which was actually licensed from Koch. You just don't see them around. But they're wonderful, early, charming Haydn bitlets and fully formed 4-movement symphonies with like 30-second movements here and there. Really cool. So they're on this disc with Emanuel Pahud flute, along with the Haydn Ensemble Berlin. And so, wow, super cool. Really cool. So that's a good way to start Haydn, I think, with something really unusual that people don't know about, because there's a lot of Haydn people don't know about. Well, here we've got the morning, noon, and night symphonies on Harmonia Mundi with the Freiburger Baroque Orchestra. And these are good performances. It was the Freiburg Baroque Orchestra before they sounded crappy just for the sake of making a point of period instruments. I mean, they're periody, but they're not as dry and desiccated and horrible as they later sounded. This was recorded in, let's see, when was it recorded? Is there a date? There's no date. No date out here. Wait, let's look at the date. There is the date, 2002. Yeah, before it was recorded in October 2001 in the Teldec Studio, Berlin. And, it's nice. I mean, they're wonderful symphonies. How do you destroy them? Seriously. Well, some people have tried, but so far they haven't succeeded yet. Then we've got, yes, isn't this marvelous? The Haydn Te Deum. Actually, the big work is the C minor Mass by Mozart. And this is the Ferenc Fritzsche recording, which is just marvelous. And it's in stereo, but it's coupled to the second Haydn Te Deum, which is just glorious. Of course, the most glorious recording of that is Pinnock's, frankly. But back in the day, nobody played this piece. And here it was, recorded way back in 1960 with the RAIS Kammerchor, the chorus of North German Radio, and the Berlin Radio Symphony, and Ferenc Fritzsche. And, this is self-recommending. It really is. The Te Deum is great. It has a tune that sounds like a college football fight song. Te Deum laudamus. Te Dominum confidemur. I sang it, actually. I can do the whole thing. Even that final fugue. In Te Domine spera. Well, no, I can't do that one anymore. Anyway, it was great. It was great. Fabulous. So, that's on Deutsche Grammophon. Haydn Complete Piano Trios Volume 5. I have the complete box of them. This is with Trio 1790. Oh, they're ghastly. This is on CPO. This is period instrument garbage in the worst possible way. Annette Wehnert and Mercedes Ruiz and Harold Herlen, forte piano. Dry, desiccated, clunky, really excessively speedy, charmless. Everything that you hate about period instruments, you will hear here. CPO. Shame on them. Trio 17. They did the complete trios, and they were just ugh. Okay. Haydn Masses with Neville Marriner. Well, these were okay. They weren't great. We have the Missa Sancti Bernardi von Offida, the Heilig Messe, which is fine. The Nelson Messe with woodwind interpolations. Remember, Haydn wrote it simply for 4 trumpets or 3 trumpets, 4 trumpets, strings and organ. And later his student, Neumeister or Neumann or whatever his name was, added wind parts, and they don't help at all. It's much better to do the original, which is what everybody basically does now. Then we have the Kleine Orgelmesse and the Theresian Messe. These are all with the Staatskapelle Dresden, which is nice, and the Leipzig Radio Choir, which is fabulous. It's just that Neville Marriner isn't very exciting. You know, the music needs to have more guts and oomph and rhythm, and the Nelson Mass needs to be scarier in the D minor sections. And, you know, they're not terrible, but they just aren't very interesting. The soloists are all good. Carol Van Ness, Doris Stoffel, Keith Lewis, Petteri Salama, Margaret Marshall, Carolyn Watkinson, Robert Hall, and Barbara Hendricks, Anne Murray, Hans-Peter Blochwitz, Matthias Höhle, you know, people like that. Yeah, they're all decent. Everybody knows what they're doing. It's just that they're not very interesting. Sorry. Okay. The Y Chamber Orchestra of New York. Oh my, I used to play in the Y Orchestra of New York, not the Chamber Orchestra of New York, not the formal Y Orchestra. I played in the amateur, let's have fun on a Sunday afternoon Y Orchestra. But it was a very good orchestra. And then we had, Gerard Schwarz doing the classic trumpet concerti of Haydn and Hummel on Delos. He was a wonderful trumpeter. He was not such a great Haydn conductor, actually. His classical repertoire was rather conservative and foursquare. Kind of uninteresting. I mean, these are fine. He can play and conduct this stuff in his sleep. And the performances are decent. But later, he made some Haydn Symphony recordings for Delos. I think I may have them over there. And they were just god-awful. Anyway, that's okay, though. That I kept because you have the Haydn trumpet concerto that has the best tune ever written for the trumpet in the finale. Yeah, well, I try. Oh, Toscanini does some Haydn and Mozart. The Clock and Mozart's Hofner. These are like famous with the New York Philharmonic. And from 1929, Toscanini was not a great Mozart conductor, and he was a marginally better Haydn conductor, if only because Haydn can take being sort of roughed up a little bit better than Mozart can. And you've got alternate takes of a couple of the movements from the Clock Symphony. The Clock was a famous performance in its day, anticipating, people say, the period instrument movement in its speed and unsentimentality. Mozart is just fast, like crazy fast, and I don't know. I don't think they're very good, but there you go. It's Toscanini. People care. So we start Haydn, and there's so much more to come. Keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.